The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clark.
Good morning. I'm Nico de Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world to recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, 75 degrees, mostly sunny, and looks like we're going to have a beautiful day. It's going to be kind of nice out because of the storm off of the Carolina coast is kind of dropping that moisture out to sea and maybe up in the Carolinas, but we have nice dry weather here, so that's a nice change for us. I'd like to remind you, first of all Paige is not here, of course, so you can see that, but she'll be back on Thursday, so she's coming up with some good stuff there. I'd like to remind you to pick up the Health Signals newsletter. It's all about CBDs this time, and we got a lot of information in here, and at the last few pages here, I want to remind you that we have the CBD offer from Purium. We have a product catalog right here. We have the video promo, and then we have the special gift card that gives you $50 off of one bottle. But if you buy 4 bottles, it comes down to $2.99 instead of $3.99. Saves you $100 right there, and you get them for $75 a bottle. That's a bargain. That's the way I did it. And we'll continue to. This is not an official sponsor of TFNN. It is for our show, though, because of our special relationship with Paige and these people, and she's been using their products for years, and now that they have the CBDs, it's really gearing up. And of course, I'd like to remind you to pick up our Primal Edge. This is our one-shot wonder, and we have the fulvic and humic acid in here, and this will give you the relief you need during times when you're not feeling so well. So I usually double up on them when I'm not feeling too well, but every shot in the morning, that gives you a 30-day supply, and of course, you can buy it right here on TFNN. So, also like to remind you, of course, the Primal Edge here. Yeah, pick that up. Pick up the Primal Edge is $89. Brings it to your door every single month. It's a great bargain. And of course, the newsletter is $10 a month, which gives you 2 issues on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of every month. Used to be Friday. And I'm working on the new one right now, so I just about got it finished for you. I'd like to start off today really talking about the weather. So 2018, I wanted to kind of show you some of the different things that are going on with the weather and why we should be concerned about it. It's been a kind of a strange year. There was snow where it has no right to be, blistering heat in the midwinter. The Arctic ice was nowhere to be found, so they say. It was kind of strange. So let's take a little tour here. First of all, there was ice and snow in Florida. Early January brought snowflakes to the Florida Panhandle for the first time since 1989, and in January it's been since 1885. So that's quite a long stretch here. And that was courtesy of the winter storm called Grayson. Of course, we started naming these winter storms because they're getting more intense, even though we're still on that global warming track. Just remember that. Other things happened. Georgia got 6 inches of snow in some places. Charleston, South Carolina got just over 5. And of course, we know the Northeast got really whacked, so Boston got a lot of snow. And now they have to prepare for hurricanes, maybe. There was also snow in the Sahara Desert, not just a dusting either. It was 15 full inches in parts of Algeria. The Sahara regularly gets cold enough to snow in the nighttime. It generally falls below freezing in the winter, but the humidity is typically far too low to produce any precipitation. But the experts point out that because the Sahara is so massive, there are few weather stations in it, so it's hard to see that there are maybe snow. We have no way of knowing, but we did get some really good pictures of some of the snow I don't think they have them in here too. But so, and let's see, we got the coldest April followed by the hottest May. This was the coldest April in 21 years. It was the hottest May since we started keeping records. The Weather Service has been keeping track of 124 years in the continental U.S., and 208 even beat out the Dust Bowl era in the heat. This increasing heat shouldn't be shocking at this point. It says here that global warming has kept us on track. The shift from the coldest April was very strange, however. 2 states even reported the coldest Aprils of all time on record. Also, wildfires that caused a thunderstorm in Texas, and this was the Mallard fire that was in the Texas Panhandle, burned so hot for a month of May that it formed kind of a cloud that was associated with volcanic eruptions. So very, very, they call them pyrocumulus clouds, form when the air gets heated intensely and then cools and condenses as it rises. When this first happens fast enough, it can even cause storms plus rushing winds to help fuel that fire. This one also caused 1-inch hail to fall near Wheeler, Texas. Next thing was more snow. This time in June, Newfoundland got a dusting, or a dousing actually, of snow at the end of June, accompanied by wind chill factors of 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The average high that time of year is usually in the 60s. People are getting used to this late seasonal snow that far north, and it's been more than 20 years since they felt anything quite so late. Canadians can thank the big block of cold air sucked into the low-pressure system off the coast of Newfoundland for the snowfall during the last week of school in June. And finally, there were those 4 nor'easters in a row. 5 or 4 winter storms in 1 month, and even though snow in March isn't terribly uncommon there, it was a strange period. The jet stream happened to direct air down the coast while a block of air over the ocean kind of prevented the shift in the wind, meaning that the area got pummeled again and again. So that big nor'easter kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and we saw that. So there's a lot of changes going on for sure. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the global warming track. Let me get to that. A new survey says global warming could be far worse than the new study shows. So collapsing polar ice caps, and this is the kind of information that mostly the mainstream gets. The green desert, they're saying that a 20-foot sea rise could be in our future. That's the potential future of Earth, a new study suggests, noting that global warming could be twice as warm as the climate models predict. They say that the warming is remarkable. The changes we see today are faster than anything we've ever countered in Earth's history. In terms of change, we are in uncharted waters, says the co-author of this, and this comes out of Australia. This could mean the landmark Paris Agreement Accord, which limits global warming to 2 degrees, is going to be out the window, may not be enough to ward off catastrophe, they say. We can expect sea level rise that's unstoppable for millennia, impacting most of the world's population, blah, 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 and it goes on and on and on. When we get back from the break, however, I want to bring you up to date what were they finding with the charts in June and the sites that I'm following, so we can get kind of equal this out a little bit. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back. And while you're on the break, please pick up our Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder with humic and fulvic acid to make you well. Be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back to the show. So we went over a little bit about some of the propaganda about this year's weather, the first 6 months of 2018, and then we went over that article a little bit about the normal global warming thing that we hear from the mainstream media. And these articles come out just about every week and every month. We hear more and more about the sea level rise and everything. But you know, we've had about 300 years of detailed solar observations with telescopes, about 75 years of magnetic records, and about say maybe 150 years of magnetic records, but 75 years of the radio spectrum, and less of that for the modern instrument records. About 12 years of this site that I'm taking this from is called What's Up With That, and What's Up With That is W-A-T-T-S, watts, in other words, electrical. You know that I follow Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observer, and also 2030, Adapt 2030, David Devine, and a few other ones. And this is one of the sites I normally go to get a lot of my information, so we can really look at the graphs, and these graphs are not made by them. These are made by the various agencies of the weather, of the space agencies. So that's what we're going to look at today. So the months pass, and our knowledge really increases every month, and the evidence points to a major transition of activity in 2006, which has returned us to the solar conditions of the 19th century. So maybe we should expect the 19th century type climate to follow. So let's go to some of these charts here. So this is the first chart, and this is the F10-7 flux. And the F10-7 flux is considered to be the most accurate measurement of solar activity. The solar cycles are numbered. You can see we're marking them from 18 to 24. And solar cycle 24 has about 2 years to go, they say. Maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. But you can see we're on the downtrend here. And you can see that we're getting to a floor of about 64 on these fluxes, and they were up into like 1956, 57 probably was around 275. Even in the around 2000, 2006, you're talking about maybe that maybe 2004, it was up into the 225 range, and now we're down to about 64 range. So this gives you, you can kind of see the downturn from this high point in 59, and again the high point in maybe 2004. These are all the maximums. And now we're dropping down into the minimums. So you can see the minimums pretty closely related, but the point is, are we going to go farther down? Let's go to the next one then. So the next one is the magnetic interplanetary magnetic field from 1966 to 2018. And the interplanetary magnetic field has been on a downtrend since the early 1980s, with the last 3 solar minima lining up. You can see these minimums are actually going down. The last one was down farther, and now the question is, are we going down further from that? And if this trends continue, it will go down to a monthly average of 2.8 in 2020 at the 24-25 minimum. So they count these maximums here. This is 24, this is 23, this is 22, 21, and so on. And now we're going into the minima. And the minimums is where they break between the 23 and the 24 here, and between the 24 and the 25 here. So pretty interesting for sure. So the next one, let me get me up to date here. So this is the next one, which is called the AA. And this is the geomagnetic index of the sun's magnetic activity. This graph explains why the world warmed in the second half of the 20th century. In 67 years of data up to 1935, the sun's magnetic shield of the Earth averaged 15.7 on the AA index. In the next 71 years of the modern warm-up period, they call it, to 2006, this was 50% stronger, averaging 23.2. But since 2006, the AA index, so it was a little ice age-like, falling to 15.8 and falling as we go further down into the 24, 25 minima. So you can see that right now we're here, and we're going to be going down into this area here. This is up to 2008. The next chart is the average temperature along the 59 north and 30 west at 800-meter depth. So this is the North Atlantic current that they're measuring here. Let me get to my chart so I can see it a little bit better here. Okay, yeah, it's coming up here. Okay, so the graph from this climate site shows that the Argo temperature data of the area corresponding to the main part of the North Atlantic current. The Argo floats were launched in 2004, just in time to capture the start of the temperature decline from the end of the modern warm period of 2006. So this starts in around 2004 when they put those buoys in, and you can see the decline taking place. And pretty much they say 2009 was the more warmer periods up here, 2008, 2009 periods. Now the next chart is the alpha particle to proton ratio in the solar wind. Another sign that the sun is quieting down is the alpha particle to proton ratio in the solar wind, which has peaked in intensity in 1991. The ratio is now a third of its peak, with room for further decline. So here we have it again. You can see the peaks that were here. And 1991 seems to be one of the higher ones, although maybe 88 was high here too. But we're going down into this area. You can see this last minimum went down all this way. So we're thinking in the next 2 years we may even drop down into this area right here, which is pretty low. The next chart here, these charts are really cool because it really tells you what exactly is going on. Nothing is being fudged here. The solar wind flow pressure. This graph confirms for a period of the instrument's record, the sun was most active in 1991. Note that the second half of the solar cycle 24 was much more active than the first half up to 2014, despite declining of the 10.7 flux that we mentioned earlier. So here we really see that the intensity of the solar wind was here. and now it's declining. Remember that the solar wind helps protect us. That atmosphere, the magnetosphere that we have, protects us from cosmic rays. This next chart is called the Ulu neutron count from 1964. Whoops, I just lost my thing. I'll have to read it from here. So this is the 1991 spike in the solar wind pressure is down in the cosmic ray flux at the Earth's orbit as captured by this graph of the neuron flux data from the Ulu station in Finland. This was also the year that the Mount Pinatubo eruption and the cooling from that seemed to overwhelm the system. So here we'll be continuing this here with the charts here. I've got a couple more charts to show you, which will bring this all together. So stick around, folks. In the meantime, please pick up a Primal Edge and also, of course, our great newsletter here. We'll be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to the show. So we were on this figure 6, which shows the solar wind flow pressure. And you can see 1991 was the peak where we got a lot of solar wind, a lot of buffering. And the opposite here is the neutron count. And this is an opposite thing. These are the minimas here now, these high peaks, because it shows the particles coming in towards the Earth. And of course, these particles are a lot of dangerous particles going on. Of course, the northern lights, the borealis, you can see a lot, and a lot of people have seen them from Georgia, from Atlanta, And this spike in 1991 in the solar wind pressure is a spike down in the cosmic ray flux, so it lets more particles in. And of course we have that Manitoba thing too, but here we have 23, 24. We think this one is going to go higher and more cosmic rays are coming in than ever. Now the next graph, which is number 8, is the average, and what we did is superimpose that little chart that we have up here, and we put it in here, and now we're showing the different years. We're showing cycle 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and this is 24 up here in the blue. So you can see a lot more particles are coming through. 22 is this green one here. 20 is the black one. 23 is the yellow one, and the green one, I guess, must be, I don't know, 22, I guess that is. 21 is the red one. So this is the blue one. So you can see from this chart that right now we're getting a lot more cosmic rays, and we're not quite at the end of the cycle yet. We think that's a little ways off yet. The next chart is the flux and Ulan count from 64 to 2018, and it illustrates at the end of the modern warm period in 2006. The figure shows it inverted against the 10.7 flux. The transition from the modern warm period did not wait for the end of the cycle 23 in 2008. The Neuron flux shows an abrupt change in the lower level of activity in 2006. So here is the count right here, and you can see it's much lower. And then we have number 10, which is the last one. And this is the solar polar field strength aligned on the minima. So the strength of the next solar cycle can be determined by the solar polar field strength at solar minima. That is a tracking for solar cycle 25 to be much the same as the aptitude of solar cycle 24. This is a return to the solar conditions that characterized the 19th century. So this is kind of what we're saying, is that we're going into what might be if we're tracking this lower and lower, and then the next cycle is not going to be as strong. Then we are heading into something like the Little Ice Age, what happened in the 1800s and maybe some of the 17 and 1600s even. We don't know yet, and that's what we're following. But a lot of people are seeing lots of different things in the sky too, and I wanted to bring this one to you because it was kind of interesting. This is kind of the eye in the sky, and this gives you kind of like the Horus eye that we see on a lot of Egyptian things. We're seeing a lot. I saw some pictures of square clouds, of these shelf clouds that roll in. I've seen these lines and circles around the sun with halos. So a lot of different things that are happening that we may never have seen before. But if you follow the Thunderbolts project, you're going to find a lot of these things here, like the stick man with his hands up in the air with the globes underneath, which are plasma formations. And not until we did experiments in the lab that showed that these plasma formations exist, and they exist in many different forms. And a lot of the cave drawings in every continent around the world has this in stone. And if you follow that, that's pretty interesting to me, because this is the type of thing that we see. And this is just one example of it. Here's a few more pictures of it. The all-seeing eye of God is a symbol showing the eye often surrounded by a ray of light or a glow. A usual maybe by a triangle too, represents the eye of God watching over humanity, so they say. Pretty interesting. But they're seeing a lot of things out there. So I just want to bring this to your attention. You know, people have moved across the country. People like Ben Davidson he was in Pittsburgh for many years, and he decided that he was going to move his family out to the desert in New Mexico because he thought this was probably one of the areas that would become green again and probably have less active things happening. And of course the weather ramps up. We see much more extremes from both directions, cold and heat, and they seem to just back up each other. One day you're really cold, the next day you're really hot. We see torrential rains right now. What's happening in Japan, I mean, they're just having torrential rains there, very unusual. Snow in the deserts. Australia has the worst winter they've ever had. There's still snow in the Alps, some of the lower Alps in Italy and Austria. They had snow in Sweden in the summertime. Some people in Sweden and Norway saying we've had no summer at all. There was another thing here in that I had at midsummer. So this is in Russia, and they got the tankers were stuck in the ice, and they couldn't get out. I don't know if there's another picture here or not, but the whole article about how these tankers were trying to get into this North Port because for the last couple of decades it's been easier to get in here, and now they had to have the icebreakers to come in June and July to get these guys out. So things are definitely ramping up. I encourage you to follow Suspicious Observer, the Thunderbolts Project, ADAPT 2030. Of course, listening to the show here, we're going to have this on a continuous basis because I think it's important. We've talked a little bit about doing some prepping, things like that. If you do that, there's states where it's much easier to prep. I mean, if you go into places like Colorado and things like that, during a crisis, you're going to be pretty much left alone. In other words, the Army or the authorities are not going to come into your home in there because it's hard to get to those places. But in places like Florida and places like maybe the Northeast and in California where it's easier to get to your home, if you have supplies, they want your supplies because they want these supplies for everybody. So they're going to take your prepping stuff away from you. So this is why people move around the country, and I think it's just important to realize that the government here says they're here to help you, and maybe in some areas like Florida, where it's easy to get to people, maybe there will be a lot of help. But maybe also the government will become martial law, and all of a sudden you have to give your food up if you've been one of the people who are prepared. They may even take your generator from you. Who knows what they can and will do, but you have to prepare yourself the best you can. So that's really, what we're talking about today. Got a few reactions from the chat room here, so thanks for all that. I really appreciate it. Anyway, I'll be right back. I got a lot more to talk about, so stick around, folks. In the meantime, you can pick up your Primal Edge, pick up your Health Signals newsletter, and all this stuff is always in there, so we'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back to the show. One thing I forgot to mention is the greenhouse ice sheet service. Mass, because we hear a lot about what's, everything is melting, Antarctica is melting, the Arctic is melting, it'll soon be free of ice, and that's really not the case. Most of the time when they're talking about the Antarctic melting, it's underneath one of the very active volcanoes, and they probably have a couple of dozen that are in there. And there's tens of thousands of, and maybe they even think underwater, there's millions of volcanoes out there. And what happens when we get into a solar minimum, we get less protection from the Earth, so there's more electricity coming from the sun, coming from outer space. So, and these particles, these small little particles, go through everything, and they do react. And it even goes as far as to say that we think the major changes in DNA that happen on the planet with animals and with people, in other words, new species coming about, species changing, happens during these times. So it's not all gloom and doom. There's good things that take place also, but a lot of misery can take place too. But I wanted to bring the attention to the current surface mass sheet of the Antarctic, and they have some pretty good satellite photos here, and you can see this is 1981, this is 2018, and actually the darker blue colors are the increases, and this is where the ice is the thickest. So you can see really that the ice is probably more growing, except in maybe some areas where there might be some volcanic action. And also, this one is a map of accumulated surface mass. This is millimeters equivalent to water to now. And here we have the chart that shows you the up and down every single year that's happening, and this is 2017 to 2018, and we can see that it's actually higher than the 17, the 18, so we have more. Here's another one, the peak going up. So we have more ice there. It's not getting thinner, it's getting bigger. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So, well, of course, there's other things to think about here, folks, and one of the things I wanted to talk about is the health that you get from nature. And there was an article here that I was reading. Towards the end of the 18th century, a pastime known as sea bathing took Britain by storm. People would climb into wooden contraptions called bathing machines, allowing themselves to be wheeled into water, then plunged into the ocean. These dips weren't just fashionable. The bracing seawater was thought to be good for the constitution. Establishments such as the Royal Sea Bathing Hospital at Marquette offered sea bathing as a treatment for ailments such as tuberculosis and those types of diseases. As it turns out that seawater cannot actually cure you of diseases, maybe not today because of the seawater being different, but those types of the physicians were onto something, because we do know the value of going into the ocean, going into pristine waters, going into the pristine forest. But here the article is really stating that even if you live in the city, you can find places that have just a little bit of green. And this is really good for you. So, the more often that we can get into nature, the healthier we're going to be. We just had this big thing in Thailand with these kids in caves, and being 9, 10, 14 days in a cave is just not good for you, because first of all, you don't get sun, you don't get vitamin D. Of course, these boys were malnutrition because they didn't have food. Lucky they had water, and lucky they had their guide there, their soccer coach, who kept them alive there. So it's a miracle, and I heard this morning the 9th one came out, maybe more by the time this show is airing. But we've been following that really well, and it's amazing what human beings, when they get together, can do. I had some things in the chat room really talking about, well, what are the implications in the next 6 years for the climate? And I really think that, of course, we're seeing more extremes. We know this is happening already. Storms are getting more intense, but we're going to get colder and colder and colder, the way I see it. So I think these are the things that we have to prepare for. The farther north you are, the worse it's going to be. But these climate extremes, like the flooding in Japan and the snow in Australia and New Zealand, and the snow still in the Alps, and snow in Sweden in the summertime, snow in Newfoundland in June, and there's still snow up in Canada in various places, of course, and some of the higher elevations in the United States even too. So next year we think it's going to get ramped up even more, and as we go through this minimum, remember they say we have a couple of years left in going down into minimum, so the worst hasn't happened yet, and the maximum will be a very, very low maximum, and maybe dip even more from 25 to 26. These are 11-year cycles approximately. Some even stretch out to 13 years. But we have to prepare ourselves. One of the ways we can do that is improve our health. And one of the ways improving our health is getting out in nature. So the more we can do that, the better it is going to be for all of us. And we all have little parks, and it doesn't have to be a large thing. You can just step out in your backyard, and there you have it. But again, we still have to be aware of what's happening in the climate. With more cosmic rays means we also have to cover up. So maybe when it is, the extreme part of the day, you cover up more, but still get some of that sun that, Paige often talks about, that morning early light, that we need to kick ourselves into the daylight. And then that sun at 4 to 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock, depending where you live, to kick us back into nighttime. Remember, melatonin is made in the morning sun. When you get exposure to the sun in the morning, that already is your body accumulating melatonin so it can be released later on. So the body works in really good ways with the way the Earth has been doing it for thousands of years. And we really have to be aware of that. And one of the things that these cosmic rays give us is problems with respiratory ailments, and I have that myself. Every year I seem to get this little area of your lungs filling up, and a couple of years I even took some antibiotics to get rid of it because it got so bad, but I try to refrain from that. So this year I really ramped it up with taking the saunas and putting that lamp right on my back, so my lungs are really good. So even though I had a kind of a rough week in the last couple of weeks, that seems to be leaving me, and I was glad I didn't have to take any antibiotics. But this is only going to get more intensive, I think, as we go through. So by going into nature, and now we have summertime everywhere up in the northern hemisphere. So this is the time to get in nature. And I think next week that Paige is going to be going to Europe, and her plan is to go to Switzerland and Germany and Austria and go around this whole circle of visiting all these beautiful forests that they have here. This is what we need to do in the summer, folks. Get that, because if you're shut up in the wintertime, that's no fun, and we know it's going to be more and more detrimental. And these summers may get shorter as we go along. So There's lots of ties in here, and this is an article I'm going to be putting in our Health Signals newsletter. And it really means that we have to be more aware of nature. And I think some of the problems we have, of course, of these institutions like our schools have eliminated a lot of these things where the kids can go outside. So these are the things I think that need to change. Anyway, I got another segment coming up, so please stick around. Please pick up some of that Primal Edge, and please take a look at our Health Signals newsletter. And if you want some of those CBDs, you're going to have to pick up the newsletter and get that big discount. Or if you want that and don't get the newsletter, you can always reach me at nico@tfnn.com. I'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit tfnn.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
And welcome back. I've got an article here. Here's why you should always sleep on your side, according to the sleep experts. Now, this is something that caught my eye because I remember being told that sleeping on your back is the thing to do. And I've often tried to sleep on my back, and it's comfortable for a while, but I always kind of feel myself just turning over to the side, either the left side or the right side, depending on how I feel. So this is kind of interesting. People who suffer from sleep apnea is a dangerous breathing interruptions during the sleep, or maybe people are snoring too loudly. But I think there's nothing worse than going to bed and needing a good night's sleep, and then all of a sudden your brain is active and you're going, or your partner is snoring or something like that, or maybe that you have indigestion and you can't get to sleep. And there's nothing worse than a bad night's sleep. And I certainly had that going on. It was a funny thing. We got these sleep number beds, and all of a sudden my side kind of started leaking. You know, I'd wake up in a hole in the morning. And boy, it was just, I had some nights that I really had to get out of bed and go sleep someplace else. But finally, a good company. I mean, I called them up, they told me what to do, and the next day I got a new thing to fix it, and so far it's been good. So that's really good. But sleeping on your side has been something of a controversy, but now they're saying that maybe it's better. So head and neck surgery experts are choosing the right sleeping position. It plays a part in not only how comfortable you are during the night, but also in the health of your heart, brain, stomach, and your respiratory system. Let's see. Even people who suffer with heartburn or reflux can find relief in lying sideways because the stomach is situated slightly on the left side of the body, and the transition of food from the esophagus to the right side becomes smoother. It even works with the brain. It says even if you don't struggle with any of the ailments like acid reflux, or maybe you snore, you have sleep apnea, or anything like that, you sleeping on your side can be really good for the brain. Harmful substances are thought to be flushed out the brain and removed through the body's immune system during the night. But previous laboratory tests with mice and rats show that the system only works reliably when the animals choose a position in which they're lying on their sides. Pregnant women are less likely to suffer stillbirths. Of course, that makes sense because then they're not holding all that weight. So that makes a lot of sense there. Changing position in mid-sleep isn't just harmless, but totally normal. So if you're worried about that you're a little bit restless and you go from side to side, well, the restless part of it is not any good, naturally. But despite these recommendations, you shouldn't be worried about lying on your side. Rather, you should focus on a position to sleep that feels very comfortable for you. They say that most people with heart problems automatically assume the correct lying position in any case. The recommendation is that you don't go out of your way to alter your sleeping habits as long as you wake up in the morning and you do so without pain. In the end, there's little use in forcing yourself to fall asleep on your side if you're not comfortable. So change the position approximately 10 times a day is normal for people. So this is something that I really didn't know. I was always kind of figuring that maybe lying on your back was the thing to do, but I naturally always tend to turn over on the side, so it makes me feel a little bit better. So I think it's pretty cool. It says here that sleep health, the general health, your medicine, your snoring, your sleep apnea, pregnancy, miscarriage, all determines on how you will lie. But the best thing to do is get comfortable and go to sleep. And that's not worry about the rest of the stuff. So sleeping on your right side, left side doesn't seem to make any difference. But most of the time, if you have indigestion, your right side is preferred. So pretty cool stuff. Anyway, Paige is going to be back next week, or actually Thursday, and she's got some stuff for us. I think she's doing some kind of workshop of some kind, so she'll bring that to us. Thanks for sticking around with me, and I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.